Hi friends, so in the continuance of the last session, what we are trying to do in this session is load back the XML that we had generated from the data. So what we have is we had generated some of the data or some of the XML files, that is test2 and test3. We are going to consume it back into the database. So to do so, what I have created is I have simply created two tables, that is the XML employee table with a load prefix and XML department table with a load prefix. Looking at the schema of both these tables, they are similar to XML employee and XML department tables. So the foreign keys and the primary key, it has a foreign key reference to the department ID of the XML department table, and also it has a primary key declaration. So it's pretty much, the schema is pretty much similar to what the XML department table looked like in the last session. Now before we start importing or creating the SSIS package for the same, we have to take care of creating or generating the XSD files. So for each of the XML, we have to have a XSD file, which is nothing but a file for validation, description and controlling of XML. So basically each of the XML data, it's validated against the XSD. So basically if you have a valid XML, you are in a position to create XSD through the SSIS package also. So what we are doing here, the first for the load task is we are going to truncate both of these tables, and we are truncating the load XML employee table, and we are deleting everything from the department table because department table has a foreign key reference, so it wouldn't allow us to truncate anything. That's a very short cleanup. Then we move on to consume department followed by the employee tables. The reason I'm doing this into two DFT tasks is because the department table has a foreign key reference. So the base table or the table which is being referenced by the employee table needs to be consumed first, otherwise it's going to give us an error. Had there been no foreign key references, we could have done this in a one DFT task itself. So again, moving into the DFT, what we see here is we have our XML source here. Let's try to consume test2 from this files into our database. So now if we start looking, we create an XML uh, source, and then we just simply try to consume it. So what I do here is, let me delete this and delete this as well. So okay, let me get a tool and pull the XML source, and from there let's try to add test2.xml. Now let's try to generate an XSD for this and call it output.xsd file. So when we press this and try to save it, there will be a file generated and saved. So this is the output XSD file. Now let's try to see what it looks like. So if you try to open it in the Microsoft Visual Studio 2008, we should be able to see the XSD definition. So this is our XSD, which has been generated by our SSIS package, which has organization as the root, and then it has employee and department, and these are the contents. So it basically generates a validation XSD. Now let's leave it there. Now once this XSD is generated, we could alternatively try to generate the XSD with the XSD exe. You can find and download it in this XSD anywhere from the internet. So we have an XSD exe which you can download from internet, and then you can try to generate. So let's again try to use, let's say xsd.exe, and we try to generate test2.xml. Any valid XML can be run against this exe when if you do not want to run it against the SSIS package. So it will generate the XSD from this from as of the same name. So if you see, a new XSD will be generated with the test2.xsd. Now if we try to open this, what we would see is yes, so this is the XSD which the XML generated. It's pretty much similar to uh, the last XSD. We should be able to edit it. So it basically, the XML has added two more columns, employee ID, which is not present, just to mark up the foreign key dependency. So let's just try to edit it. We can edit the same. The employee ID has been added to link both the tables. So we move it to deployment department ID and say OK, and then we try to add a primary key constraint and set primary key, and then we can remove or edit both of them. That's it. Right, so we can save this up and then close this. So that's our valid XSDs which we generated from the exe, and the other one was generated by the SSIS. So next what we are doing here is, once both of the XSDs, let's use the XSD which was generated from the SSIS. So we can go to the columns, and we should first try to consume department and then followed by the employees. You get the drop downs, so you can consume department first, remove the employee ID and go and consume this. Next what we do is we select department, and then let's try to consume. So we are basically trying to convert the unicoded data into the non-unicoded data, since the XML is having so we just try to convert the department description into a non-unicoded, and then simply try to consume this. See, the department ID and the copy of department description, that's all. So this is the next is consumption of the employee. So what we have is we are using is the XSD again. Now let's try to consume the employee, and we say OK, and we simply convert the employee name, and then we consume it into the load employee XML employee tables. So that's all we have done. This is the mapping, and then we try to run this package. Right, so if we go back and see at the database, the data has been consumed into this table. So that's a very simple example of consuming the XMLs into your SQL Server tables. I hope it's able to add some value to you. Thank you so much, friends.